Where's Fielder?
He's gone to the dogs.
Okay, another interview here at Richmond, Indiana, in the Autumn Oaks 2022 from the Coleman Center here on the fairgrounds, the Wayne County Fairgrounds in Richmond, Indiana. The Gone to the Dogs podcast booth has been humming today. We've had a lot of people come by, caught some great interviews, and I'm sure you're enjoying them as they go along. The fellow I want to bring to the microphone now tells me that he's been to all the Autumn Oaks since we first brought it here to Richmond in 1992. And his name is Chet McCreary. Chet, where do you live?
Right now I live south of Centerville.
Centerville,
yeah.
Indiana.
That's by Abington. Yeah.
What's that?
It's
30 miles?
Man, maybe 15, 20-minute drive.
20-minute
drive.
I
used to live 5 minutes from here.
I see.
Yeah, I used to live up by 70.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, were you a member of the Wayne County Coon Hunters?
I'm a founding member of the Wayne
You're
County.
a founding
Yeah, we
member.
started in about 87. That's when we started the club.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, when we were looking for a spot for Autumn Oaks, we came back to Indiana in 1984 for our 25th anniversary, and we were at Jasper, Indiana. Were you going to Autumn Oaks during that time?
We've been to a few of them.
Yeah. Well, we were at Jasper, and the group there, the club, the local, I forget what we were using. It was a fairgrounds association or whatever. They really didn't like giving up their Labor Day weekend and having to come out and work, because they operated the kitchen and sold 1 million pies and all that stuff. Yeah. So they wanted to move, so we moved to Logansport.
Yeah, that's my first one, Logansport.
Okay, okay. And so we were at Logansport there for a year or two. I don't recall exactly. But then one of the first people that I remember talking to here was Dick Warville.
Mm-hmm.
And also I talked with Reagan Lanter.
Yeah, buddies of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Alan Wetzel.
Yeah, Alan should be here today or tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah.
I'd like to lasso Alan if I can.
Yeah.
And
Alan moved to Tennessee.
He did, yeah. And I corresponded with him on social media some. We back and forth and all. But as I recall the story, and you can clarify all this for me, Chet. Dick Warville, thank you. The name came finally back around. Told me that the club wanted to build a clubhouse, wanted to build a club for Wayne County Coon Hunters, and they were wanting to take on the project of hosting Autumn Oaks.
Yeah.
And
a lot of work.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And we talked about all of that. And then, of course, we met, and I can't remember the lady's name. It was with the Chamber of Commerce at that time.
Mary something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I can't remember her last name.
But we talked about some of the other events that we had and what kind of economic impact it could have. I've talked so much today, my mouth won't work.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
That's okay. Mine don't work too good either.
But anyway, we got together with the club, and right off of the get-go, we found out there was a lot of good working guys around here.
It's too bad a bunch of them are gone.
Yeah.
They passed away. But
yeah.
A bunch of good guys.
How was it from the other side of the? I know we talked all kinds about the kitchen, and and UKC wanted a percentage, and we back and forth on that, and you guys always provided an awesome kitchen.
Oh
here. Yeah. And I made a remark the other day on Facebook, or posted something that 10 reasons I go to Autumn Oaks, and one of them was for a pork chop sandwich.
I seen you posted that on, and I said, well, it's not there no more.
That's right, because I was here last year, but I didn't come during the COVID year, during 2020. But so how was it back then on the club side of things and all?
It was a lot of work. You wouldn't believe all the work you had to put into to get the hunts. You get all the guides and everything. And, it was all right. It's a lot of work. I hunted with a lot of good dogs too over the years.
Bet. You guided down through those years.
I've guided every year.
Yeah, right. Well, no event takes place without a lot of guides and a lot of people working behind the scenes. Sometimes I think the hunters forget to think about that. they like to come to the big event.
Mm-hmm.
They love all the crowds and all the hoopla that goes along with it, but they don't think about all those weeks of planning.
Yeah. Well, what we did, we got a really nice clubhouse now. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it takes a lot of money to take care of it, too. So, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But that was basically your goal starting out, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How many years do you think it took you to realize after you got started hosting?
Probably about 5.
5 years.
Yeah. Time we bought the property and got it all going and fixing it up and stuff,
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty nice. It's one of the nicest clubhouse in the country right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. You know, I have not actually gone out to see your club, and I need to do that.
Yeah.
But I remember that was the motivation,
Yeah.
And but we like the idea that Richmond's here right on Interstate 70. It's, close to Indianapolis, close to Dayton and Columbus and all that, kind of a crossroads
we got
situation.
Some of the best coon hunting in the country.
And great coon hunting. And that, if you want to put on a coon hunt, that's job one.
That's right.
Where the coons are, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, I know, though, as we grew, we were sending dogs all the way. Some of them were going all the way up and hunting in Michigan. They weren't, the satellite clubs weren't up there, but some of the guides would take them into Michigan, so. Yeah. That's about a 2-hour drive at least, I'd say.
Well, the way the deadline's set up, you can go 3 hours from here, really, and hunt, or 2 hours,
Yeah. So you guided several casts down through the years. Do you have any memorable ones that you or
well, I had the Apollo cast.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
You had that cast 2 years ago?
Yeah, got him in the top 16.
Yeah. Dogs made a lot of noise in the money hunts and stuff down through the years. That's a real hot crossing, the Walker dog.
Yeah, I've guided him a couple times.
I have.
Yeah, pretty good dog.
Yeah.
Pretty good guy,
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. But he was a pretty young dog to win Autumn Oaks. He's only 2 years old, I think, when he won that, or maybe not even 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, well, that's one thing. UKC's done a super job of documenting a lot of this stuff on film and video and stuff. You can go back and watch those things. And we didn't have that kind of stuff back then.
No. Your cell phones, you can take a cell phone now and go coon hunt with somebody and take a picture of them, training their coon, and, dogs doing videos and stuff. It's completely different hunting today than what it was even 5 years ago.
Yeah, totally. I've got a couple pups out there, with partners.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting home in Florida, baking in the sauna. I mean, and I'm getting to see my pups running tree and getting to see the coon up. I'm sitting in my easy chair.
Yeah, I'm 63 years old. And I can't go every night no more. So.
No.
And we got guys that hunt for us, and they'll send me a video. Look what Boss did tonight or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Or Boy did or whatever.
I made a little post about that. You know how much I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Because it's kept me in the game.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise Of course, I made the choice after I retired to move to Florida.
Yeah.
I got tired of the Michigan winters and all that stuff, But man, it sure is a different world for sure. Now, are you still guiding?
Yeah, I guided last night and I guide again tonight. I'm not sure about tomorrow night.
You got a registered night champion grand? What?
I think they're grands tonight. I'm not sure what they're. I just know it's cast 7's all I know.
I got you. And so you're gonna. They go out tonight, and now how are you familiar with how they pick the top? They just take the top 16 cast winners.
Yeah, for tomorrow night.
For tomorrow night.
Yeah, then they'll hunt that off tomorrow night.
So they're just hunting an early round tonight.
Early tonight, and tomorrow night be the top 16 dogs go back out.
And
then they'll have a final 4.
Final 4. Yeah. And that determines the National Grand Night Champion, Autumn Oaks, which has always been the spot to win. Autumn Oaks, as you know, has always been for the grand, slanted toward the Grand
That's
Night
all it
Champion
is really
dog.
for.
Yeah, the National Grand Night Champion of the year. My friend Nubbin Moore sitting over there, he's my traveling buddy. He won it overall in '84.
Yeah, we was talking.
Yeah. And that's how we met. He and I met the first time. So it's been a great.
Well, you're probably like me over here walking around talking. You got people walking up to you talking. I remember you guided me, and I had no idea who they are.
That's right. You don't.
you don't remember.
I hear this a lot. Of course, as old as I am. I was on the cast with you, yada yada yada, and you were hunting this dog or that dog, and I said, Well, buddy, I'm sure you know because I don't remember that. But yeah, did we have a good time? I hope I was a good guy to hunt with.
Well, I used to have an '87 Dodge Dakota pickup truck.
Yeah,
that's what I used to coon hunt out of, and everybody knew me on my truck. Now I don't have that truck no more.
Oh, I see. So you're kind of incognito there.
They don't know who I am. Then I'm driving around a different truck now.
Right. Now you were. We talked about you sold some dog supplies or some.
Well, I used to sell dog boxes, dog food.
Yeah. What was your dog box that you built and all that?
Well, I've sold Heritage dog boxes.
Oh, you sold the Heritage.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hauling in my truck.
Is it right now?
Yeah. But the plate on it says Cub Run, Kentucky.
Well, I think he sold it. The original guy sold it.
Yeah. That started with Jarvis Humphreys.
Well, Jarvis bought it from another guy.
Okay.
I started it from the original guy that owned it. I can't remember the guy's name. That's been, 20-some years ago. Yeah. Then Jarvis bought it. Jarvis used to bring them right to my house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jarvis always had a dog in his back of his truck.
Yeah. He was going somewhere to hunt.
He's going somewhere to go hunting.
Mixing business and pleasure.
Well, he'd go deliver dog boxes and go hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jarvis was a coon hunter.
Oh, yeah.
He liked to coon hunt. Yeah, well, I bought that, let's see, I was at AKC, and I was driving an F-150. I had switched from a Toyota to an F-150, and I needed a full-size box, and I bought that box, and I don't remember exactly where, but it's been a good one.
Yeah.
I've really, really enjoyed it. It's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but it will stay in the back of that truck, not move around.
Funny thing about Jarvis, he'd always tell me, whenever you need a dog box, you call me. I said, you sure? He said, yeah. I called him at 3 o'clock in the morning once. And he answered the phone.
Oh, no.
I thought I was going to get an answering machine, you know. But he said, who is this? I said, it's Chet. He said, oh, okay. What do you want?
What do you want? Well, Nubbin and I had the opportunity to talk to Jarvis on the phone, on the truck phone in my truck, from the White River last year. And we'd heard he'd been kind of under the weather.
Yeah.
And he answered the phone. Well, actually, he called back. Nubbin had left him a message to wish him happy birthday. And he called back, and we talked for a while. And I said, Jarvis, I need to get you on a podcast. Would you be up to that? Oh, yeah, I'd like to do that. That's fine. It wasn't just a few days I got the news that hit passed.
Yeah.
So, those missed opportunities, but that's great. Well, what are some of your best memories of Autumn Oaks? Anything you remember particularly
meaning all the people.
Yeah.
You used to meet all these nice people and everything. I can't remember all the dogs I hunted with.
No.
I can't remember them, I've hunted some good blue dogs. Brad Quaid had a blue dog. I can't remember the dog's name, but he had a really good blue dog. He was hunting for a guy. Yeah. And it's probably one of the best blue dogs I ever hunted with.
And who was hunting him?
Brad Quaid was hunting
Brad Quaid, I remember. Was it a dog called Diesel?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
How do I remember this
stuff?
I
know. I can't remember either.
How do I remember that stuff? But I remember Brad and hunting a blue dog named Diesel, and I've never been to the woods with him. But he did quite a bit of winning with that dog back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's interesting for sure.
I remember some dogs. I can't tell you about what they. I can't tell you what they.
Some of them we just. Yeah, some of the file.
Supposed to be big name guys.
Yeah,
and they're not so big name.
All right. Well, let's dig down just a little bit. I don't want to keep you all day here, but in fact, you and I Tyler Stroh. Is a friend of yours or related?
He's my nephew.
He's your nephew.
Yeah.
And I think my podcast listeners know the story of how I found out about my wife had to have a dachshund. She'd had one years ago and wanted another one. And we found out through a friend out in Missouri, LaDonna Tucker mentioned that or Williams, I believe, or is her name now. Anyway, she told me, she said, I know a person in Richmond that has dachshunds. Anyway, long story short, we found out about Tyler, about his dogs. Yeah. And last December, I flew into Dayton, drove over, spent the night, same motel I'm staying in here, went to Tyler's at 6 o'clock in the morning, picked up that puppy in a rental car and drove straight back to Florida.
Yeah. We still laugh about that.
19 and a half hours later, I pull in the driveway at 3:30 in the morning. My wife's out there on the walk. Give me that puppy. Oh, yeah. And she's been totally taken by that puppy ever since. He's a great little
Tyler's got some really nice pups.
He has some nice dogs, yeah. And I didn't know Tyler when he was quite active in showing dogs for a while, wasn't he? Yeah. Well, he has a puppy now, another pup.
He was about a little black and tan female.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's cool.
She's out David Gillum's dogs.
I told him, I said, that's a good choice because David's known to have good hounds.
Well, Tyler's pretty well known around this area for show dogs.
Yeah.
We take our coon hounds and win shows with them.
Yeah. And that's impressive. It's kind of like this thing that UKC's recognizing that with this dual champion thing. Yeah. And it was neat here last night to see this room full of guys, waiting for the cast to be called out on that duels hunt,
He called us yesterday. He says, we got 3 spots left. You want 2 of them? And I said, for what? He said, we can have 2 of your grands. I said, well, they're not ready. You haven't been hunting.
Yeah.
But I know that we had them ready to hunt,
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, maybe next year, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've all been sick. We've had that COVID and all been sick. He's had bronchitis and he messed his shoulder all up. Maybe have to have surgery on his shoulder.
Well, I hope not. He's a heck of a nice guy.
Well, Tyler's also a professional musician.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
I told him to bring the guitar by the booth.
Well, he was playing. I put a video on my YouTube channel, Wild Rivers Hunting and Fishing Adventures.
Okay.
And it's got, what's his name on there, playing the coon hunting song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. And what's the name of that channel?
Again? Wild Rivers Hunting and Fishing Adventures.
Okay. Well, listeners,
on YouTube,
make note of that. Check him out on YouTube.
It's not real good. It's off my cell phone.
Hey.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere.
That's right. That's right. Well, what you've judged or probably judged or guided for all these years now here at Richmond. You've seen a lot of dogs come and go. Do you see any difference in the dogs now and the dogs that you first started guiding back there in 92 or 92?
When you actually don't go in the woods with them no more, so it's kind of you don't see as much. The last 5 or 6 years, we don't have to go in the woods with them.
Right.
So everybody's got the Garmin's now. They can you don't have to tell them where everything's at. Where the fence rows are, where the creek bottoms are. They know by the looking at their tracking system. They know
you're basically sitting at the truck.
Yeah, I just tell them where to go, how far you can go, and don't worry about it. Whatever happens, if a dog gets in the road, I'll get it for you or whatever.
Yeah.
But
so in that regard, you just really don't have a chance to evaluate the dogs.
No, you don't
as
go
much as you
don't go in the woods.
Before.
Well, I can't keep up with them no more.
Well, I understand that. Well, that's with me. I always loved the competition.
Oh, yeah.
When I was with UKC, I didn't get to because their rule was, we don't. It's conflict of interest, But so I'd hunt at plot days because they had a non-licensed plot hunt and stuff like that. But of course, I coon hunted all the time. But I always enjoyed hunting so much, But nowadays, I don't think I could hack it on a cast. I can walk to my dog. If the terrain's not too steep and rocky and stuff, I'll go to my dog, but it's not pleasurable and it's not at a speed that I would want to make a cast slow down to keep up with me, or so I just don't try to do that anymore. But these dogs now hunt pretty wide.
Well, the ones I hunt don't.
Personal dogs.
Yeah, so we won the mini slams here in 2020.
Hold it. Tell me about these dogs then. What kind of dogs are
Well, it's Wild River's Black River Boy 2. We won the mini slams here in 2020.
Is this a black dog?
Black and tan dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Chabacoin's bloodlines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's our Boy 2 dog's out of our original boy dog, which is a litter mate to Buffy. Which one Chad's basically Chad's dog. So.
Yeah. Okay. And he's from, where's Chad from?
He's from up north there a little bit. I can't remember the name of town.
Okay.
He's about an hour drive from north of here.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, I just wondered if you we talk a lot about these dogs the way they are now. When you cut them loose, they go to the 4 points of the compass, and they're never together, and they're ambush type dogs and all. You seeing any of that, or do you? Well,
a lot of times, I like the independent dogs. Like on my Boy 2 dog, he's very independent. He wins a lot of casts in the last 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
He'll step off by himself and get treed. That's that's where you win.
Oh yeah. That's what's winning, and that's why guys are hunting these kind of dogs. They're not doing this just Oh yeah, it's fun. They enjoy it, but they want to win.
Well, dogs just don't pack up like they used to.
No,
they used to. You used to be in a cast, and dogs all pile on one tree.
Oh yeah.
Now just dog tree over here, dog tree over there, dog tree there, half a mile in.
Yeah.
And you got to call timeout, go decent dog or whatever.
And we talk about that a lot, and I guess some of it's trained in, electronic trainers and everything else, but a lot of these dogs are just born independent anymore. I got a young pot dog here in North Carolina. I mean, he always wants to be by himself.
Well, they're breeding for more independence.
Yeah.
In dogs. They don't want a dog being packed. I know guys that will actually whip a dog that they go to another dog.
Oh, I know that too.
Yeah.
I know that's true.
And I hate that.
Well, yeah. If they're naturally that way, fine. But, please don't abuse the dogs.
No.
Come on. This whole sport is supposed to be fun, and it would be no sport without the dogs.
Yeah.
We got to take care of these animals.
Oh,
and we got to treat them right. There's no doubt about it. They say a man's ego is a terrible thing for a dog to have to bear, and we need to leave the ego at home.
That's right.
And go out there and have fun. If the dog does good, boy, feel good and all. But
that's the whole part of coon hunting, especially competition hunting. If it's not fun, don't do it.
Yeah.
If you can't go.
Why would you do it?
If you can't go to a coon hunt and have a good time, at the end of the cast, shake everybody's hand and say, buddy, we had a good time. Even though I got screwed or whatever, I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just shake everybody's hand, because that's what they remember. They remember you being a good person. If you want to be an ass, they're going to remember. Everybody's going to say, that guy's an ass.
Yeah.
But if you go and be a good sport and call your dog what they're supposed to be doing, and shake everybody's hand at the end of it.
Exactly.
That's the way sports supposed to be.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Chet. Date is get together over the phone, and we'll do a full-blown podcast, and this here at Autumn Oaks, I'm basically trying to, meet several people and have we've been at it 22 minutes here.
Don't seem like it's been 15.
I know. It's so we're going to cut this short for now. You got to cast a guide tonight, and you'll be going how far from the fairgrounds?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah. Man, you're the guy I wanted to draw.
Oh, that's what everybody says to me. I had a guy last night say, I want you to guide me tomorrow night. I said, buddy, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Just go where they tell you, huh?
All right.
Well, I hope you have a good cast of Grand Nights and bring back one with the score enough to get in the top 16.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
We treated two coon last night.
Yeah.
Then they boo-hooed for an hour.
Yeah. Back in the old days of the 3-hour hunts, I don't know if you're old enough to remember them, but we had 3-hour hunts. Well, you could get out there and get a pretty good score, but the hard part was keeping that score for 3 hours.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I love the hour hunts, especially when you get older.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being at UKC, and they got this idea of a 2-hour hunt, and not everybody was for it. Yeah. I know John Wick said if you're a coon hunter, you ought to want to hunt 4 hours instead of 3.
I remember him.
But I said, but I said, John, these clubs, they can't get enough guides to keep these dogs busy for 3 hours, The property, the issue of having enough land, the issue of keeping your guide out all night, he's got to work tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And all those things you've got to figure them in the equation.
Well, especially financially for a guy who goes to a hunt. If you can hunt 2 hunts in one night, that's better for you.
Yeah. We came up with these double headers when I was with AKC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's a great idea. Yeah. A friend of mine down in Florida, he posted the other day, he got 3 wins on his plot dog. And I'm like, Gordy, where'd you go?
Yeah.
What'd you do? He said, well, the club there had 2 double headers. Mm-hmm. He said, I won 3 casts in 2 nights.
Oh, yeah.
So that's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Make it more convenient.
Oh, yeah.
I am in favor of keeping the rules where the coon dog comes to the top. You don't want to get to the point where we're giving participation trophies away.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. But still, if you can accommodate, times change. Mm-hmm. And the old days, the old years ago, hard hunters, if you didn't hunt till daylight, you were considered a softie or a candy.
Well, we was talking a while ago to some guys about, pleasure hunting stuff. They don't believe me. I used to take 3 and 4 dogs by myself.
Yeah.
He said, "Did what?" I said, "I used to hunt 3 or 4 dogs by myself."
Yeah.
How you do that? You take 4 dog leads.
That's
And one
right.
dog trees, you tie them to the tree.
Tie 'em up.
Then another one is running, you follow the other one's in a tree, you go tie them to the
and
tree.
then gather them all back up.
Yeah. Then when you get done, you go back to the first tree and you shoot that coon out. Then you go to the next dog's tree and shoot that coon out. Then you go to the next one.
I've hunted.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I hunted 4 by myself, but I've hunted 3 before.
Well, that's when I was young and limber.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Chad, it's been a great pleasure for me to talk to you. Tyler certainly was not wrong. He told me, he said, you need to talk to my uncle. So we're going to get together and talk again.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Can I have that commitment
I
from you?
enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And good luck. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Maybe we'll get you back on. You can tell us a little bit about your cats.
Okay.
All right. Chet McCreary here from a member of the Wayne County Coon Hunters, and here from the Autumn Oaks. And we're going to wrap up day number 1, the Friday event. Well, actually, it started on Thursday. So this is the second day. It's finishing now. It's about 6:40 in the p.m. Kind of quiet here in the headquarters building. It'll be noisy later on as these cats come back in with the scorecards and all the stories and so forth. But at any rate, we're going to wrap it up for the second day of Autumn Oaks, and we'll have more interviews tomorrow. All right, here we are, day 2 of the Autumn Oaks. Actually, it's the 3rd day. This thing starts on Thursday, but tradition has it Friday, Saturday. That's when the big dogs, the Grand Knights, and all that stuff go to the woods. And we've completed the first night for the Grand Night Champions. And if you're in the headquarters building here in the Coleman Center, you'll see that they've got a big screen on the side of the wall there with all the names coming up one at a time of the Grand 16. They'll be running that tonight. Early, those 16 dogs and forecast, and then those forecast winners will go into a final 4 to decide who is the National Grand Night Champion of Autumn Oaks. I'm really happy to bring to the microphone this morning a gentleman that I knew his dad very well and worked with him when I was at PKC, and then when I heard this name being bannered about, I thought, well, my old buddy Chip has come out of retirement, but turns out it's his son, Chip Kohser of the Joy Dog Food. How you doing, Chip?
I'm doing good, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, awesome to have you, for sure. You guys with Joy making a lot of noise lately around the country. What's going on?
Well, ain't a whole heck of a lot other than the fact that why recreate the wheel? Dad already did it once, and we in 2003, Dad had to sell the business, and there was some rough times there with Joy from 2003 until Wade Graskowitz, who founded High Standard Dog Food, bought the company, and we've been coming back since then. And we're really strong with the dog breeder world, the guys that raise dogs and raise puppies for a living.
Right.
But as we started expanding back to the South, I ran out of those guys, and we were figuring out, well, what are we going to do down here? And Dad already wrote the book, and we love dogs with jobs. We love what this stands for.
Right.
The camaraderie, the fellowship that is competition dogs of any kind.
Oh, yeah.
And we're glad to be back.
That's cool. Well, I know a few years ago, after I left UKC, they came up with that slogan, dogs that do stuff, which is pretty cool. I like that, and that's what this is all about. Well, there's a great tradition here, dating back to 1960 with the Autumn Oaks, and I was privileged for about 16 years there between 83 and 97, 98 or so to kind of be the manager of Autumn Oaks due to my, duties with UKC. So it's fun to come back, each year. And the building we're sitting in right here used to be it. I mean, we did everything in this one building. And of course, now it's spread out into different venues and all. But what's been your reaction to Autumn Oaks this year? What do you see?
What I'm seeing compared to the most recent years is people are back.
Yeah.
I mean, from all over the country. I mean, I just talked to a guy here from Utah.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had coons in Utah for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kansas, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Last year it was packed, but it seemed a lot more regional last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's exciting to see everybody get back on the road. And what I love about UKC events is the fellowship.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love the other registries too, but the fellowship of a UKC event is what makes it unique.
Well, the coonhound community is kind of, there's a lot of fellowship that goes along with it, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of BS and sitting around. But that's always been part of it, and I think that
I think somebody actually told me the truth once this weekend so far. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've got a kid with me. Actually, he and I are partners on a dog, and he is just consumed with coon hunting. But this is his first trip to town, so to speak. First time he's been at a big event. So I was laughingly saying the vendors are having a great that weekend because every time I see him, he's got something else he's putting in the truck. So he's having a ball, and that's what I love to see. These younger people coming on and all. Well, what kind of? I know that you have Josh Michaelis, who's a well-known coon hunter, and I listened to your Fuel by Joy podcast, and that's going well. And Josh is a good guy, and he's getting around the country, I guess, setting up dealers or whatever for you. And also, you guys are really making a commitment here in our sport.
Yeah, and I think it's something that I tell people all the time. We want to support these events, the Beagle events, bird dog events. I tell my dealers all the time, we need to continue to that because if these events aren't successful, I'm only 45 years old. I got 20 years at least left to work, and I don't want to have to start dealing with the pet owners. I said,
exactly.
Because they're a little bit crazy. I'd much rather come to a coon hunter or beagle hunt.
So I was going to say, you guys aren't going to start packaging Joy in little packages and putting it on a refrigerator case at the end of the.
I don't think there's any plans for that. Yeah, I don't think there's any plans for that.
Well, that's cool. Well, I don't know without getting too deep in the weeds here because I'm definitely not an expert on dog food, but I do believe in feeding a complete and balanced dog food and that's good for all life stages of the dog and I know that you guys are pretty proud of the fact, and when you hear about all these recalls, that you never had a recall with Joy.
Yeah, we found in 1945 and never had a recall.
That's awesome.
And, I mean,
that's awesome.
That there's some luck to that, but also you put a lot of time and effort into making sure that doesn't happen with the manufacturing process. Yeah. And the one thing that, and there's other companies out there that are still doing it, but the one thing that I like to say is that we're formulating the dog food for the nutritional needs of the dogs. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of companies out there that are formulating their dog foods for the whims of their owners, much more so than the nutritional needs of the dogs.
The whims and then the latest fads and all that stuff. This is kind of maybe an off-the-wall question, but it's an honest one from my own standpoint. How does Joy deal with or feel about this grain-free, no grain-free? What's Joy's position on all that?
Dogs need carbohydrates. Dogs were domesticated for thousands of years before we had refrigeration. Their guts are much different. They need carbohydrates to be able to absorb their proteins. If you get corn, rice, wheat, whatever, the way we process dog food, those carbohydrates are pretty much all created equal. They're all going to be about 98% digestible. On the grain-free diets, there's nothing on the surface wrong with a grain-free diet because they do provide carbohydrates with peas or potatoes or whatever. But the issue is your peas are also 20% protein. So I'm actually getting less animal protein into an expensive bag of dog food because I'm getting out vegetable protein from the peas as well. Yeah. And my proteins aren't going to be as digestible as they are with something that doesn't have those peas in it. The grain-free, we have a grain-free product, but honestly, the time I push it is obviously if a consumer buys it, I'm not going to tell them don't. Oh, yeah. But we pretty much push it for a severe allergy case where there is an allergy. But when it comes to the dogs with jobs, I've got no issues whatsoever.
Sure.
I'm not a grain-free pusher at
well,
all.
I've never used it, and of course, some of the cautions that have come out about.
Well, and there's certainly some issues there with the taurine. A lot of times, dogs get a mineral called taurine from their meat source because those grain-free products don't have as much meat in them. They have to supplement that taurine in, and that was what was causing those enlarged hearts. Is there was some companies that were not supplementing that taurine back in.
Yeah,
so
I hear you. Well, the hunters are really talking about on social media and all. You hear a lot of people talking about joy, and you see more people feeding it now. And I just think they're really glad the coonhound community is glad that you're, I know you really didn't go anywhere probably for the last few years, but it's like joy's back, and we're glad. So that's what I'm hearing.
No, 100%. I mean, and we're blessed to have a good team put together to be able to do that. But we're just happy. I mean, in my opinion, this is America at its finest. These events like this, Beagles, whatever the case might be, there's enough enemies out there that are trying to end what we do for fun. We're glad to put our support towards those types of organizations that are going to continue hundreds of years old traditions. And not to mention, we're really happy to be back involved with the youth stuff. Because that's what my dad said back in the day. The reason they really got heavy into youth is because they didn't have to pick favorites. They just had to love the kids.
That's awesome.
That's
a good quote.
Because everybody and their brother, they want you to sponsor him or feed this dog. Well, this guy's going, why didn't they pick me? Nobody says that about the kids. We can take care of the kids, and it's everybody's happy.
Well, some of the most fun times I had at PKC was built around the Joy Youth Championship.
I know it wasn't as a participant because I don't think Joy's been around that dang long.
No, although we were talking earlier, I do remember my dad feeding Joy when I was just a kid. But to be there, of course, that 10 days. It depends on how you looked at it. Some people would say it was 10 days from hell, and other people would say it's probably the most exciting, fun 10 days they ever spent. But on the PKC staff, we were there in that tennis center 10 days in a row. And we started off with the Super Stakes back then, and then we got into the World Hunt. And then at the end of the World Hunt, those last 2 days was the Youth Championship. That's when all the kids and all the parents and everything started pouring in to Aurora. And it was a big old fun time. I mean, it was exciting.
Well, and the one thing that was really neat to me, looking back through my dad's old records and stuff, is I didn't realize we did this, but I think it's pretty neat. We actually did press releases for every one of those kids back to their hometown paper.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I've got all these articles, these newspaper clippings of Scott Engel or whoever it was and qualified for the World Champion Youth Hunt, Coon Hunt, PK. You know what I mean? And like that, it made it a big deal, made those kids feel really special.
Oh, yeah. And I talked with somebody the other day, and I had Rusty Jones on, and Rusty was in that program, made the Final Four one year, I think, and all that. And we did this deal. I thought, boy, all these parents are here, and they're so proud of these kids and all that. And I said, we always had down a restaurant there called Willow Pond, a catfish restaurant there near the tennis center, and the kids would all be treated to a lunch, and you'd have you guys would provide the jackets and the hats and all that for them. And usually somebody like Roy Tramble or somebody would talk to them and all. And I said, you know what? If we gave these kids all a number, if I produce a list of all these kids' names with their dog's name and their earnings, and then the first kid on the list gets a number one as he goes out the door, and tell him, when you get back to the tennis center, you get your dog and you line up at the back door. And we had somebody there to keep them all in line. Okay. So I got this list. We start George Strait on the PA system saying, Dad, this must be the best day of my life. And I'm calling Rusty Jones, Joe, 125. And he walks out on the carpet and does a little deal. And Mom and Dad are out there. Kids, it was fantastic.
No, that's what it's all about.
And
the number of guys like Rusty that, they paid for a lot of their education with that scholarship.
Exactly.
Another one that came up to me at Grand American first time we were back at the Grand American 3 years ago, Duran Link came up to me.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know who you are, but I want you to tell my dad, or tell your dad thank you, because he paid for most of my education.
Duran and Peanut, a little black and tan dog, you know.
Yeah.
He was a force back in those days, yeah.
My dad did say, he says, has Duran gotten any smaller?
Yeah, Duran, I understand, is doing very well in life and has a family now. And
he does. I actually went and spent some time down with him in North Carolina. Went to a restaurant together. He's doing real well.
Yeah, well, what a heritage there, you know. And those kids you mentioned, Scott Engel, golly, what he's accomplished in
had a hell of a year.
World. Oh, yeah. And that Echo Dog must be unreal. I'd sure like to go see him go. But, yeah, well, Joy, you know, down through the years, I worked with the registries, and I was always, you know, looking for sponsors that would, you know, help me recognize the hunters and all that stuff. And of course, at PKC, Joy was everywhere during those days, you know, and all. And so they're appreciated in this sport by, I mean, companies like yours on a lot of different levels.
My dad likes to say about PKC, Jarvis would get an idea. He'd call my dad to figure out how to pay for it, and then he'd hand it to RD to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, Roger Dale was kind of the numbers guy. When I was there, he was the guy that kept all the numbers, you know.
Yeah.
Roger, I tried to get Roger on a podcast. Not interested. I said, well, what other response would I expect from you, RD? I enjoyed working with Roger. He was a good guy to work with, but he's not real out there with his conversations and stuff. You know, he kind of. But
that's right. He's made some pretty big moves here. Gotten out of his comfort zone in the last 2 years. We'll let him slide by without a podcast because he's done some good things.
I know, absolutely, that's for sure. For sure. Well, Chip, it's great to have spent this time with. Well, we only did 15 minutes, so you know what.
Well, good God, I know you at least have another half hour to talk.
Oh, boy, I know I inherited that from my dad, and I used to say, Dad, you talk way too much. And now here I am.
My wife and I just moved this January. We're bringing her aunt home, and we needed more room because she's been sitting in a nursing home for 2 years. And
that's great.
It's in isolation since it's COVID stuff.
Yeah.
And so we moved, and one of the rules was we needed to have an office on a separate floor because I don't have an inside voice and I talk too much. And my wife said her folks are tired of she's tired of getting asked about dog food because everybody she's talking to on the phone's asking about dog food. So I have that problem too.
Right. Well, you know, I guess Hank Williams Jr. is noted for that song, The Family Tradition, you know.
Yes, sir.
And so dog food and Joy Dog Food, certainly a Kohser family tradition.
I've never done anything else. I mean, Dad sold the business in 2003. I was telling you earlier, my degree was in engineering because I figured I'd learn how to make dog food. I can always sell it later. And so I was 24 years old, and when Dad sold it, didn't know what I was going to be. So I put a tractor trailer load of dog food on a credit card and became a dog food distributor from 2003 to 2017 when I came back to work for Wade. So it's really, I mean, well, when you're self-employed, there were some tangents that came along the way too, but it's all I've ever known.
Yeah. Well, you know, the old saying, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. I really didn't know your granddad personally, although I knew who he was and knew him to recognize him, you know, in the crowd. But you definitely have inherited that Kohser personality and carrying that tradition on. And so that's great.
Thank you.
It's been great to spend time with you today.
No,
Chip.
I appreciate the opportunity to be on here and give Michaelis a run for his money.
There you go. We'll see how the ratings go.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, we should top him this week for sure.
Yeah.
Fueled by Joy. If you haven't heard that podcast, look it up wherever you get your podcast. It's great. Josh Michaelis. Josh was by here on Thursday when I got here. Got to spend quite a bit of time with him. So, well, Joy Dog Food, man, always supporting the Coonhounds. We appreciate you, brother.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
All right. Thank you. Man, we have a guest here today here in the headquarters building on Saturday at Autumn Oaks that I First got to shake his hand out in the Navajo Nation in Arizona back in, about 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Now, Jared
About
Moss.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great, brother. Best hound dogs and best bird dogs, right?
Yeah. Best bird
You
dog.
can't
Best
get
gun dogs, yeah.
Best gun dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, you can't get better than the best. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think I heard your podcast out here 3 years ago, and that sparked my interest to come out. And
Oh, cool.
so
Yeah.
I'm here because of you.
Oh, well, how about that? Well, I'm honored that you are here, and I brought a guy out from Virginia that I'm partnering with on a coonhound pup, and it's his first autumn oaks, and he's been having a ball. He went out on the cast last night, first cast he's ever been out on.
Wow.
He walked along with Lane Denny, who won the UKC World Hunt about 3 years ago.
That's awesome.
And also, yeah, but it's great. Well, it's a long way from here to Utah.
Yeah, I had to get on a couple different airplanes to get here.
Yeah.
Had to wake up about 3 a.m.
So-
Hit Las Vegas, Nevada, and then flew into Michigan. Got another flight to Daytona, and got in a car and drove this way.
Wow.
Yeah,
You drove from Daytona up here?
No, Dayton.
Oh,
Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, yeah.
Yeah, so that's only about an hour, but
Yeah.
it was quite a long day.
When I used to fly into Autumn Oaks, I always went into Dayton too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Well, what's been your impression so far of what you're seeing here? And all
Last night when everybody gathered and they started drawing for the hunt last night, and you had this whole room full of guys and gals, and I don't think anything screams freedom more than a bunch of coon hunters and having a hunt and a bunch of families. There's a lot of families here, and that is really neat.
Yeah. Well, I know you're a family man for sure. Tell us a little bit about your crew out there.
Yeah, back home we've got me and Ashley, and then we've got...
Well, Jared, we had a little hiccup there, power failure, but we're back online again here, hopefully. So where were we? We were talking about your family back home, and what you got going on out there these days?
We're getting ready for the fall upland season. Dove season started yesterday, and we'll be hunting checkers and quail before too long. But man, it's hot. We had the monsoon season last month, and it was pretty nice. Come in and rain every day and cool things down. But man, when I left home, it was 95. It was way too hot for home.
My only experience with Utah is flying into Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And that would be when I'd take trips up to Cody, Wyoming and over there, and I'd fly into Salt Lake and then hop over to Cody.
Yeah.
And so where are you relation to Salt Lake?
If you put a pin on the map of Salt Lake and Las Vegas, Nevada, I'm right in the middle of the two.
I got you. Yeah. Okay. Well, you got a Western thing going on there for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what I like to talk about.
Sure.
And that's hounds.
You bet.
When I met you out there in Navajo Nation, you had a string of some nice looking hounds. You had some blue ticks.
I do.
Remember one little blue tick female that I liked that you had on that string. What do you have for hounds now?
Mostly, we're running a lot of blue dogs. Most of my pack now is blue. I've got one or two running walker dogs, but everything's mostly blue now. They're all coming on about 5, 6, and 7. So we kept a couple of pups out of the last litter, and they're about a year now. Was able to hunt really hard last winter. Hunted a lot of cats. I think we hunted about 2 or 3 months straight, almost every day or every other day. We got
Lions or bobcats?
Lions,
or
mostly
lions.
Yeah. Working for an outfitter out of Utah, and that's a lot of fun to see your dogs progress, From the beginning of the season to the end of the season, it's when you can hunt that hard, you can make a hound, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. You got to hunt them. Doesn't matter what you're after. You got to hunt them. Yeah. Well, years ago, when I think of Utah, there was a plot guy way back, and you may have read some of the history of him. His name was Willis Butoff, and he was a lion hunter in Utah. And I don't know much about him. I knew he kind of got his plots from Dale Brandenburger, who was a famous plot breeder in Illinois. But I heard stories about him. And there's a friend of mine that lived in Texas, Charlie Hill, and he went out and hunted with Willis. And he said he was a real character. He had a lot of great stories and all. But so you're hunting mountains? You're hunting?
Yes, a lot of it's mountainous country. There was a few trees that we hiked into last winter that it was 5+ hours and waist deep snow just to get to the lion tree.
Oh my God!
So it is. It's an experience of a lifetime. You know, we've had guys come from all across the country to hunt, and
well, you got to be dedicated to want to hike 5.5 hours in wading snow.
Yeah.
Oh,
you step off the snowmobile and you fall into your waist, and you're thinking, "What are we doing here?"
Well, I experienced a little of that in Michigan over the years that I lived there. You know, we get some snow, and it would drift up. You know, and all. But I can't imagine that. Those days of taking hikes like that are over for me. That's for sure. But I admire you guys, and really glad to see you guys that can still do it. That's for sure. Yeah.
It's definitely a passion.
Yeah. Well, there's so many things I'd like to talk to you about. What is the ages of these dogs in your pack right now?
I think we've got close to a dozen dogs, just because we chase bears as well. And if you're going to hunt bear day in, day out, you got to have.
You're going to pound them, aren't you?
Yeah, you got to have a pack of dogs. So we got one older female that we're retiring. I think she's 10, and then handful of dogs at that 6 to 8 mark. Handful of dogs at that 3-year-old mark, 3 to 4-year-old mark,
Right.
and then kind of a gap there. I lost my 2-year-olds on a lion on a cliff two winters ago. One got pulled off, and then one followed the lion off, and unfortunately we lost both of them. So it's tough.
Well, you see those photos of those sheer cliffs and all. Everybody loves those photos of a pack baying a lion up on a precipice or something. But you got to think one little false move and
my heart sinks when we catch them on a cliff. I'm thinking, let's get in there as fast as we can and get the dogs back and get them tied back, because it's just too hard on them. It's too.
Yeah. Well, my buddy Chris Powell and I started Houndsman XP podcast together, and Chris was really interested in the Western hunter and the Western big game dogs and all. I don't think he'd done any of that and was really interested in it. But at heart, I've always been a coon hunter. You know, my father was a lifelong bear hunter, 50-some years, and I'd certainly bear hunted a lot. With my dad, and later on after I was married and all. But coon hunting's always been my heart. Yeah. It's been the thing that I've enjoyed so much. And, of course, I worked with it so closely with the registries all these years. But it's just, you know, I like to talk dogs. My wife says, I can't believe how, she says, you say women talk. You're on that phone for hours at times, you know. With that. But it's just been a great, great sport. Did you go around, look around, see all the vendors and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I did. I was also I was able to go out and see a couple of families that I'd met through HXP and through DU Supply.
Yeah.
And those guys are scattered from one end to the other and just trying to find some shade this weekend a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
there isn't a lot of shade on this fairgrounds for sure.
Yeah. Great vendors, great turnout. I think UKC has done a fabulous job. I mean, I haven't seen anybody squabble about an entry, it's pretty seamless today. You know, it's moving right along. I can imagine back when you guys were trying to put everything on pencil and paper. That was a little harder.
It was a little harder, and and then with the advent of the computers and all, we were able to generate labels and do all that stuff. But there's always still behind the scenes. This tabulating of these scores, and there's so much that goes into it. I mean, you'll see around this building some breed association tents and all. Yeah. UKC has each breed of coonhound and the leopard hound have their own what they call Chartered Breed Association. Sure. And that's the one that kind of works closely with the registry to kind of oversee the breed standard, all that stuff. Well, UKC provides the data, and then these guys have to kind of tabulate who their winners are, who their high scoring dog of their breed and all that. So all that's going on behind the scenes on Saturday night. So all these people that look so cool, calm, and collected on Sunday morning at the award presentation, they've been up all night long.
Up all night, yeah.
Yeah, doing all. But, of course, they probably got systems now. They push a couple buttons and it's done. But it didn't used to be that way, trust me.
I can imagine.
But yeah, it's neat to watch the operation and people, the staff. Now, none of the people that are working at UKC now were there when I was there, except Todd Kellum.
Wow.
Todd worked with me. He was in my office, in my department when I was at UKC, and he's a VP at UKC now. But all the other guys, of course, I knew Alan Gingrich through our Beagle program when I was there, and all. But so things change, but they've got a lot of sharp people, and they know their jobs. And COVID was really hard on UKC because all of a sudden they had all these people working from home.
Right.
And they were, I guess, having to distribute this work out to all these different sources and dealing with the mails and all that. And so they get a little bad flack right now, and it's getting better for sure about the turnover time on their paperwork, especially the registration end of things. Now, I think on what was like my department, which we dealt with the events, more than the registration. And, I think that's still keeping up really well. But it's getting better and it's just a crazy time, you know. I talked to Matt, who's with the home office at UKC, and he's telling me that a lot of their employees now are working, they're out of state.
Remote.
Yeah, remote. Yeah. But he says, we're looking for good people, and I guess in a town like Kalamazoo of 100,000 people, there's only so many that you can find that, really adapt to what the work, so.
Yeah.
But that's business today, I guess.
Yeah, and I've really been impressed with the show building. I've spent a few hours over there. God, there's some beautiful dogs. Oh my goodness. Beautiful hounds. I mean, some of those guys and gals don't hunt those dogs and they just show them, but there's some really nice specimens over there, and that side's just as busy probably as the hunting side. I was, so that's something that was new to me. I've always been into the hunting world and never really seen the show side of things, so that was kind of neat to watch.
Well, I've always been a hunting guy, performance guy. That was the thing that, rang my bells. But through my job over the years and all, I had to kind of think about what can we do because there's a lot of people. First of all, it's a good entry level for anybody. Kids can do that show.
I saw that. I saw a bunch of kids over there. I mean, some is just as tall as the dog, just trying to show them, and they're learning, and that's pretty neat.
They learn, and they love them, and they love the dogs naturally, and there's a bond there. And then you have the ladies, the women have virtually taken over the coonhound show world because they're just so good at it.
Right.
They're more patient. They're not, and they love those dogs, and they spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
And it shows. And then the breeding aspect of the thing. I mean, they actually, do put a lot of thought in the crosses that they buy and stuff. And these dogs all come from the basic hunting
Sure.
And that was one of the things when I was hired at AKC, they wanted me to bring all the UKC coonhound breeds into AKC. And when I came aboard, it was just the black and tan coonhound, the long-eared, old-fashioned type. That's the only coonhound AKC had. They called it that was the coonhound.
Right.
But they knew that they're casting an eye over here at UKC and saying, look at all these dogs over there that we'd like to bring into AKC. So that was one of the jobs that I had, and I did get it done. We got all the coonhound breeds brought into full recognition. Now when you watch a Westminster dog show or something, you see them all there.
Right.
But in the background, I always had this little twinge of, I don't want to see the coonhounds become the Irish setter.
Sure.
That sort of thing.
Right.
Beautiful, but
missing some of the function. Yeah. Yep.
But, there's such a vibrant community of these hunters.
Sure.
But it's amazing if you look at these pictures of winners and all.
Right.
Back in the day, you'd see the coonhound hunt winners. They were pretty common looking dogs. A lot of them, they didn't have straight legs and they didn't have tight feet and all this stuff. But now you look at them, so.
Yeah, there's some.
The old form follows function thing, and so I guess it's working out pretty good.
I think Friday they had the dual championship. So those dogs actually hunted the night before, if I understand correctly, hunted the night before, had to win to even get in the show ring. So that's pretty neat. That means a dog can hunt, put some game in the box or in the tree, and then actually come in there and still look like he's supposed to.
Yeah, and that's becoming more popular. I think it's been, maybe this might be the third year or so for that. Yeah, they divide the dog has to have a night title, a night championship, and has to have a show championship. So it's a dual champion dog, but then they hunt them on Thursday night, and if they hunt them by breed, they you hunt only against other dogs of your breed.
Gotcha.
But if you get that cast win, then that's your ticket to the show on Friday.
Yeah.
And I understand a Treen Walker dog won it. I don't know.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, I've always leaned toward the Plots, and the first year a Plot dog won it. So. And I've said this many times, the very first Autumn Oaks way back in 1960 was won by a Plot too. So not many times since, but
I'm still amazed at your memory. Because I walked in here and you recognized me immediately, and then,
you're my peeps.
You can recall really quick facts and stuff. And God, before anybody even said anything, you said, "Hey, this Autumn Oaks has been going on for 60 plus years," and that's a long time.
It is a long time.
That's awesome.
I'm old, Jared.
Well,
you're still very old.
I know, but you're getting around and doing well and still sharp as a tack. So kudos to you, Steve. I'm impressed.
Well, I appreciate that, Jared. I really do. And it's been my life. I was one of those rare, fortunate people that got to do something he absolutely loved his whole career.
Right.
And that doesn't come along every day, you know. And so I'm extremely grateful for that. And any time that I would get an opportunity to talk to a crowd of people, particularly coon hunters, I'd always try to take the time to say, I just want to say thank you to all of you, because you provided a very comfortable living for me. You educated my son. You gave me, my family and I owe all of that to you, you know. And I do feel that way, honestly. It's and I think about it. I was just talking to Terry Walker, who publishes 4 Hound magazines: American Cooner, Full Cry, The Rabbit Hunter, and Hunter's Horn, which is a foxhound magazine, and talking about going forward. And I said, Terry, I've thought about retiring from the writing aspects of things, but I'd still like to see those magazines go on.
Right.
So I've kind of committed, this will be a little announcement here on Gone to the Dogs, that I'm going to continue to write for American Cooner. John Wick, who has kind of occupied the first 4 or 5 pages in that magazine for years. Has retired now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So we're going to bump Gone to the Dogs is going to be up on the front row, and Terry said, "Well, I'm going to need 4 or 5 pages every month out of you." So I said, "Well, do I want to do that?" And I'm thinking, "Well, I'll be 76 in November."
Wow.
So I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll do that for about 4 years. I'll look at it kind of like a college degree or the 4 years I spent in the military.
Right.
But 80 should be enough.
That's enough.
But we'll see.
But, I was that young kid that couldn't wait for that magazine to come in the mail and read those articles.
That's
and
awesome.
It was all bird dog stuff. But, I'm sure there's some young kids and that are still looking forward to the stories and still looking forward to the talk.
Well, I hope so. So many of the kids get their news off the internet now, and we all do. But, I like the print media. I love books. Too. I love, to pull. Just randomly, I'll just walk through the house and walk over to the bookcase and pull out something, and flop it over, start reading Dub Evans / Ranch Hounds or Brave or one of those books, and I've just always loved that stuff. But Full Cry was the bomb back in the that wasn't even a term when I was a kid, but to read those old stories by writers like O.L. Beckham and Ope Corey, who was from out Idaho, I think he was a big game guy. And I cut, as we say, cut my teeth on that stuff,
Yeah.
So what were you reading? Like Hunter's Horn? American Field and stuff like that?
Yeah, a little bit of American Field, Gun Dog magazine.
Gun Dog, yeah.
There was a couple of Upland publications I don't think are around anymore.
Yeah.
But, reading those stories made you want to, man, I can't wait till I can get my driver's license and go pheasant hunting.
I love the old bird hunting stories, and anything like that. William Faulkner is one of my favorite authors. You read any of his stuff about the big woods in Mississippi?
I have
back in the day.
It's been a long time ago.
So
but yes, I do know that
primarily, and then what is it, Ruark or whatever, the old man and the boy there in the Carolinas, and
those stories they did reach to your soul, don't they?
Oh man, yeah. And I've always been kind of a romantic anyway, you know. And that's one of the things I kind of changed my attitude about my hounds. When I first grew up, everybody had a hound. They had them staked out to a doghouse somewhere. Sure. And then more and more people start building what we call dog pens, where the dogs had more room. My dad's kennel for years consisted of a large enclosed area that was dog proof,
right,
and individual dog coops with 6 foot or whatever chains. The dogs were free to roam in that big pen anytime he was home or whatever. But if he's going away or overnight, he'd snap them up to their box, and that was our kennel,
right?
But as I started to bring dogs inside, the stimulus for that, I guess, was reading these bird dog stories.
Yeah.
There was a guy named Bauer.
Can't recall.
He used to write for America. Well, back in the day when I was a kid, it was Sports Afield.
Yep.
Field and Stream.
Yep,
and
I read a lot of Field and Stream.
Outdoor Life.
Yep.
Those were those 3 outdoor magazines,
Yes, sir.
And so it was, but this guy would write about being on a motorhome, and he's going to this bird hunt somewhere, and his setter was curled up under the table while he's riding and all this. Yeah. And that picture, I said, I want to do that with my hounds.
Exactly.
And so, for the last few years, I've kept I haven't kept a lot of dogs, but my dogs have all been family dogs indoors,
Yeah, one of our retired hounds, Josie, she just hangs out at the house and lays on the couch out on the back porch. And my little girl loves that dog. We were able to get her about 6 years ago. And from day one, my little 4-year-old girl could grab a hold of that dog and tell her to get on the box.
That's awesome.
So, those old hounds that have been around the block, it's her turn. It's her turn to retire and just relax and have fun.
And a hound can be a great companion.
They can be awesome companions.
Yeah.
I've got some hounds that are closer to my kids than my bird dogs, just because they know when to turn it off. We're hanging out at the house, and they know when to turn it on and get hunting. So.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of activity next door to our booth here is the UKC podcast booth, and right down the way from that is their headquarters area where they, confirm the entries and do all that stuff. So it's pretty busy and a little noisy in here too. But
we better give W a plug.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm kind of missing old Jason. I was hoping he's going to be here so I could give him a hard time.
Well, I'm gonna embarrass Jace just a little bit here. I don't get an opportunity to do that very often. He sent me a lot of stickers and all kinds of lanyards and all of this stuff. But guess what? I got the notice to it, and it said it was going to arrive on Thursday. And that's in Florida on Thursday. Yeah. So I texted him back. I said, Jace, I got bad news for you, buddy. I'm not going to be able to have all the merch. But those are great guys out there.
They are such good guys.
But Buddy gets mad if you give him a commercial. Like I want to plug him off because he's a good company. But just say, time to pay the bills. DU Supply, they're good guys. Move on. He doesn't want the formal stuff, but they seriously are.
I can give them a great plug. We were in South Dakota hunting, and I had a caller go down, and I called Jason, and he overnighted me a caller out to the middle of nowhere in South Dakota, and
who does that? Right?
Nobody does that anymore. Yeah, so plug to DU, and I appreciate them guys. It was great to be able. I obviously had a couple of spares. It wasn't a panic, but Jason said, "Hey, I'll just get one to you. Yeah. No worries."
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of guy that W has.
Yeah, I actually met Jason for the first time. I'd met Buddy before. He's been to Autumn Oaks, and he was just drifting around, just met him, introduced type thing. But Jason came down like 3 years ago. He was here at Autumn Oaks, and he talks about it all the time because after Friday night, I think it was, we went out to dinner, and then everybody came up to Nubbin and my running mate there to our room, and we just sat around and sipped some of Nubbin's homemade wine and had just the stories flowing, and Jason just loved that. And he talks about that all the time coming back. And Jason's a great guy. I love hearing him talk about his kids like you. He's got his young boys, he was just on a fishing trip here with them the other day, and he sends me the pictures of the kids all that. And Jason is my guy. I mean, he's the one really that I think went to Buddy and said, we need to do this podcast network and all that stuff. So he kind of oversees all that stuff. So, I can't say enough about those guys.
I know. I think it's just going to be positive to have multiple people and multiple channels, and just going to be a place where people can come and learn. It'll be really neat.
Well, Ben Sheets came by yesterday, and I talked to him. Did you run into him?
Yeah, I ran into Ben as well.
Yeah. And, of course, I think he's kind of gone off on his own a little bit, maybe with his podcast and all, but he, I think, started out with DU.
Yes, he did.
So the only thing I wish we could do with DU, a lot of people have trouble finding my podcast. Gone to the Dogs, because it's on the DU platform. You can't just go on Apple Podcast and put on search Gone to the Dogs. It doesn't come up. You've got to go into the Hound podcast DU Supply.
Right.
So anybody out there listening, there's my buddies, the Prumer boys, just walk by. I always have to catch up with them every week. Every year at Autumn Oaks. There's 4 of those brothers.
Wow.
They all coon hunt. I only see 2 of them right now.
But that's proof of that family.
Oh,
what a family out here.
They're from Illinois, But I'll just tell anybody that's listening, if you're listening, you know how to find the podcast. So I guess that's a little bit
the great thing on my Apple is I just have the regular Apple podcast app that comes with my Apple device. And I just have those, whatever comes through W Stream is just downloaded to my phone every week, you know? Yeah. And so then I have to just open up W and pick the show and good to go. Yeah. So for me, I'm glad I have just everything's, the 4 or 5 podcasts that I listen to almost every week, they're just automatically popping in there.
That's good. Good way. Good advice.
Yeah, and just if you can, if you subscribe to W or whatever it is, and then all of the podcasts under that W Hunt podcast will show up in there. Yeah. So it's a little harder to find, but at least it's downloaded every time.
Yeah.
Then if I don't have service, I can I can still listen because it's downloaded to the phone. So,
yeah. Well, I remember the first year that right after we rolled out Houndsman XP, we spent the whole weekend, and that was the year that Jason was out here. We spent the whole weekend with people's phones in our hands, showing them how do you get a podcast? What is a podcast?
Yeah.
You know, and I was one of those people not long before we started doing them, and now there's several hound podcasts out there, and that's good. It's all so far. It's all been positive. You know, the guys are putting out good content, and also Well, what's coming for the future? Now, you had the spring bear season already, right?
Yeah,
or summer. Or
I actually get on a plane tonight, and I've got a bear hunt tomorrow. I've got a client coming in tomorrow evening.
I really feel sorry for you.
So I got to hurry home and load dogs and load the truck and get to it. So
your day job is bear hunting with hounds. How bad is that?
Yeah, this last year and a half, I've been really fortunate to do a lot of hunting. That's great. And I'm gonna hunt as much as I can this fall and this winter too.
Well, I tell you what, I want to get you back on, and we'll get a wrap up of that season, how everything went, and all that stuff.
Would love to.
Could do that.
You bet. That'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I'm really glad you stopped by,
good to see
Jared.
you, Steve.
Yeah, it's always good to see you too, and I hope you have fun. And you're flying out of Dayton.
Flying out of Dayton
today
this evening. Yeah, and getting red eye back home. So.
Oh boy, yeah.
But I do that so I can go run my hounds.
That's right. We do what we have to do.
That's right. You get there.
All right. There's Jared Moss with best hound dogs and best pointing dogs.
Best gun dogs, yes, sir.
Gun dogs. I still can't get it right.
Okay.
Well, I got the hound part right.
That's right.
Thanks for coming, Jared.
You bet.
Well, the great thing about this podcasting thing is you get to meet a lot of great people and interesting people, and we've been stopping by the booth here all weekend, and man, we're really excited today about having this young man here. He's kind of been in the spotlight in the coonhound world for the last few years. In 2019, he won the UKC World Championship, and that's not too shabby. Mr. Lane Denny, how you doing, Lane?
Man, I'm great. How are you, Steve?
Oh, awesome, man. It's great to have you by and see you and get to howdy and shake with you. You know, we did a little podcast with you way back there in my Houndsman XP days, and it was a big hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I figured we better catch up a little bit. It's been a little bit.
That's right. That's right. Well, I see you're still at it pretty strong. And what's been going on? I know you kind of retired the old girl, didn't you?
Yeah. So, like I said, in 19, we won the UKC World Hunt with her. And previous, she was a truck winner, won her truck, things like that. We was blessed, and after we won the UKC World Hunt with her, I was kind of debating on whether or not to retire. I had shot the young dog out of big money and her coming up that I'd been hunting, and he was really starting to crank it on. So, I was just kind of going back and forth, and I took her to the PKC Nationals the following spring, and I got to hunt her, I think, one or two nights out there. I believe actually I hunted her one night, and then she, like I said, she didn't owe me anything, and I was like, man, I want to put more time in the shot and start pushing him because he was ready to start being pushed. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to hunt her at UKC Purina Nationals, and then I'm going to retire. And that's what we did, we retired her at Purina Nationals the following year there. And as far as from the hunt, but we still coon hunt her. She, that's what she lives to do. That's what these dogs live to do. And she's fat and out of shape right now. Every summer I let her get a little fat and out of shape. And then come winter time, I'll go to treadmill her and running her a little bit on the side by side and get her in shape and just hunt her a little bit in the winter time. Just let her do what she loves to do because she definitely don't owe me nothing.
Well, absolutely. Well, how old is she now?
She's 10.
Yep.
Well, she turned 10 in May.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell it other than her gray face and her gray legs. She's all heart. She always has been from a baby, and just the other day I let her out. She stays in the house, and I let her out of the house to use the bathroom. I was loading the dogs to go hunting, and she jumped on the tailgate, man. You talk about really get to you. It really got to me, and it just reminds you just how fast that time goes. It seemed like yesterday she was 11-month-old puppy. And now she's 10 years old, and we just want to enjoy the time what we got time left with her, and sure. That's the main goal, just let her live her life out, and because she definitely don't owe us nothing. She has been beyond great to us, both performance wise and now reproducing wise. It's starting to show up, and that was my ultimate goal when we did retire. I thought, man, I wanted to, for one, have something out of her that I could hunt in the hunts and push in the hunts. And so, the first cross we made was with Big Money, and I kept a dog shot out of that. I ended up getting shot back. So, he's the one I'm pushing now. But as far as reproduction-wise goes, her puppies are starting to show up. Of course, we bred her to Big Money the first cross, and we bred her to Willie. And then this last cross, bred her to Rodeo. And, Big Money cross was very successful. Willie Cross, absolutely very successful, and these rodeo puppies are showing up. They're going to start showing up, I would say, this next spring. But that was our ultimate goal when we did retire. We wanted to see her name in the future, and the 33 generations from now on to see her name on papers, and because she just she don't owe us nothing, and she was a special dog to us, and I want to be able to see her make an impact on the coonhound world for years to come.
Oh, well, I'm sure that she will. And, those memories are, when you're an older fella like I am, there's a lot of memories. And the older you get, the more those memories mean to you. And that 10 years or whatever God decides to give Emmy, whether it's 10 or 15 or whatever, that's brief period of time, but there's so many memories there that you will never forget.
Oh, yeah.
They will be with you forever, and she'll probably, I would imagine now, it'll probably be the yardstick that you're measuring, all the dogs down through your life,
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, the memories, they'll never fade. I've met some of my best friends because of that dog, and not just her in general, just coonhounds in general. Some of the best people I've ever met in my life, and I call them my best friends now, and was because of this sport, But like you said, you can take away the truck she won, you can take away the 50,000 in PKC she won, and the world championships and this and that. And I'm telling you, she would still have a pin at my house till she died. She was just special to me. She taught me a lot about this sport. She really did. She taught me that, a lot of them dogs, man, they lack one thing, and it's heart. And she taught me that that's something you can't breed in them. You can't train in them, and they just got it, and that's one thing she had. But there's countless memories, I feel like that I'll forever remember,
Well, we put up with the little thing of them coming in season sometimes and before there's a big hunt or whatever. But, it's like my buddy Randy Smith up in Pennsylvania, he always likes to hunt females. And then he's got, the choice of breeding, just like you. I mean, with the outstanding female like Emmy, of course, I'm sure everybody wanted to breed to her. But you can kind of pick and choose, and you've mentioned some pretty standout dogs there that you bred her to. And that's an advantage that you have from hunting a female.
Right, yeah, absolutely. We, like I said, when we decided to start breeding her, I didn't want to breed her every time she come into heat, because I love coon hunting her too much, and I didn't want to put her through that. But I wanted to pick, 3, maybe 4, good stud dogs that had good guys behind them. And I feel like that I have, I feel I picked, 3 that's, in my opinion, 3 of the best stud dogs with the best people behind them that you can pick, and that means a lot because, like you said, each of these stud dogs that I've bred to, the men that own the stud dogs have had a puppy and they've pushed them. Yeah. And that helps a million, it really does,
Well, we say it all the time, but unless you can get these pups in the hands of hunters, it's a futile thing, That's the key. I mean, you can be the best reproducer in the world if you don't hunt it, what's going to happen. Well, I was particularly interested when you bred to Willie, of course, 2 world champions there. Well, he's a 2-time world champion with AKC and UKC, and then with Emmy and all that. That was kind of a really exciting litter. What about that litter?
Well, I tell you, that litter right there has been probably one of the the most successful litters that she's had as far as a whole litter as a whole. That litter there has got, I don't know, I would be lying if I told you the exact number, but I know there's at least 4 of them that are Grand Night champions or night champions, you know. And of that litter, I would say that litter alone's probably got around $15,000 in PKC pup earnings. It was great. It was a great option, and it was a great cross. You know, Jr. Gray he's one of my better friends now. And you know, and he's a good guy. You will not meet a better group of guys than them guys right there. And you know, he's got one off of her that he's pushing. You know, he won the tournament of champions with Connor and ended up getting rid of him. But now he's got that little female he calls Scar. She's out of Emmy and Willie, and he really likes her. And he says she's a pretty nice little female. So, but you know, you got that dog, and then you got the 4X Floyd dog that's out of that cross, and that's a pretty good dog. And then you got Carolina Game Changer, one that I was hunting up here at Autumn Oaks for Mr. Johnny, and he's a good dog too. And you know, and there's 2 or 3 more out of that cross that are good coon triers, you know. So it was a good cross. It really was. It was a neat one because, you know, to that time there hadn't been 2 world champion crosses in a long time. Right. I can remember. Of course, I'm young and I ain't been around forever, but I know it'd been a while since there was 2 world champion crosses.
You probably, you know, I can go back to when Dick Brothers bred the Terra female. And who did he breed to? But it was a world champion cross. But that's way back. We're talking way back there. And all, that's kind of, you know, what caught my eye with it. I said, and the dogs kind of complemented each other. They're kind of same color dogs.
And if you put Emmy and Willie, especially when they was both 2-year-old, you know, put them side by side, you would think that they was half brother and sister or something, you know, because they got that color. You know, they're beautiful hounds, and they threw that in their puppies. You know, about 90% of that litter was just absolutely just great looking hounds, and had the color that I like in them, you know, and you know, it is, you know, that helps, you know, a lot, you know. So
now the shot dog is out of big money.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Now that litter was very successful as well. That was the first litter. And there's out of that litter, I would say there's around 20,000 in PKC earnings. See, Shot's got right around 18,000 in PKC earnings, and then Colton Atwell, he owns one in Iowa, call him Millionaire, and he got him in the semifinals of the Super Stakes as a 1-year-old. But them boys don't hunt a bunch of hunts, really. They just like pleasure hunting. But that's a good dog, too. Another one out in Oklahoma called Fit. I raised her, ended up selling her to that boy. She's a good dog. She's a PKC champion and all that, too. But, you know, that cross was very good, too. That was the first cross, and that really opened my eyes, you know, when I started seeing them puppies, you know, which Big Money's a good reproducer. You know, I'm not sitting here saying it's all Emmy, because it's not. It takes a good male dog too. But, you know, when I started seeing them dogs, how they was starting to act and started seeing them win a little bit, I thought, you know, that'd be pretty neat if when I do cross her again, if those puppies do the same thing. And, you know, it turns out they have, you know. You know, I got a picture sent to me, Jr. Gray, matter of fact, he believe it or not, it's JR's a good friend of mine. Like I said, he kind of keeps up with that more than I do, but he sent me a picture back early July of the reproducers, or the current reproducers list in UKC, and Emmy was on it. And then he sent me another one the other day, and she's moved up to number 3, you know, so that's a pretty neat deal. You know, along with that, she last spring, out of Shot's litter, the Big Money litter, that litter got her a Breeder of the Year award. She wasn't Breeder of the Year; she was 3rd, I believe. But you know, she got a Breeder's award for that too. That's so cool. It's neat, you know. At the end of the day, and especially like her raising her, that's what it's all about. You want to see your dogs reproduce good, and you want to see them dogs in papers for years to come. You know, you know, and it's a blessing. You know, it's so cool how she impacted my life, you know, and everybody else's life in the woods. But now it's looking like her puppies are going to do the same. So that's just a dream come true, really.
Well, so basically, out of 2 litters, she's made this reproducers list.
Yes, sir.
Because
Basically,
your rodeo pups are too young.
Yes,
right?
they're just a year old. Rodeo pups are just a year old. Yep. So two litters, she's made the list of. Of the 2 litters, she had 8 the first time, and then the Willie Cross, she had 8 as well. So that's 16 puppies. Of those 16 puppies, to my knowledge, I would say probably, I would say there's at least 8 of them titled. There's at least 10 of them titled, whether it be in PKC or UKC.
Gotcha.
It is.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
it's a neat deal. You know.
Well, I noticed when you were campaigning the shot dog, and he seemed to be just pretty early on. He started winning. He was a pretty bright pup.
Yeah, he was. It's just like everything else. We had some polishing we needed to do when he's younger, but we got the polishing done on him, so to speak. And the dog's never won anything big as far as that goes, but he's got in the PKC he's got over 150 cast wins, and UKC he's got several cast wins. Made the top 100 of the UKC World Championship as a 1-year-old. He's been qualified tournament champions and made the top 10 in PKC Nationals last year. The dog's never been pushing any big hunts. We've just kind of pushed him around some smaller hunts and in the dog. He's just 3. A lot of people think he's older than that because, he's been around, seems like forever, because I started packing him to the hunts when he was a year old. Yeah. And, we're just kind of having fun with him too.
That's cool.
And hopefully next year, we'll probably maybe put him in some bigger pro classics and try to make him a platinum champion. We bred a couple females, but as far as to the public, I haven't really opened it up. I've got several guys wanting to breed to him, and after I make him a platinum champion, I'm going to open him up to the public to breed.
Are you naturally breeding him or
yes?
Or
we have covered 2 females naturally, and we've AI'd 1 female. We kind of had some bad luck out of the AI. The female stuck. And she was about 45 days along, and she aborted all of her puppies. But we bred a silver champion female the beginning of July. So she'll be due the end of this month coming up. So we're excited about that. She's out of track man. So them TrackMan females, they seem to cross really well, and that's what.
Well, I'm hoping down the road here, my buddy Keston's sitting over here. And he and I've got a TrackMan semen pup.
Yeah.
She's 10 months old now.
Yeah.
And she's yet to show us a lot, but she's coming along.
You bet. Yeah. Well, she's still a baby. When that flip switches, it'll be no turning back. You know how that is.
Well, that's what we're hoping.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's a beautiful thing, and she hates a coon. So
yeah. Well, I tell you, that's a good start.
Yeah,
that's a good start. It really is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Lane, man, it's awesome to see you. What's your kind of plans for the future? I mean, do you do any of the pro sport hunts, or is that?
I tell you, they had a pro. I've been in 1 pro sport hunt. It was back about an hour from my house in Oklahoma. It's a truck hunt. I enjoy those hunts. I like the rules, but as far as the future goes, like I said, I'm gonna try to make Shaw a platinum champion. And, continue to hunt him at like Nationals, UKC World Hunt, the bigger hunts, and like I said, I got Game Changer at my house too of Johnny Altman's. And, it's nice to have 2 of them when you're going to hunt, because you might be able to, do good with one and then hunt the other one. So, it's good to have 2 of them. We're going to roll both them, but I'm very excited for my puppy out of rodeo I've got at my house.
Already you got one?
I've got one. She's, like I said, that litter's 13 months old, and man, I'm telling you right now, I knock on wood, if she stays healthy and nothing happens to her, she'll make some noise. She's the right kind.
Well,
she's action packed, and I'm excited. I was going to
ask you about if you'd seeing anything out of those puppies.
Absolutely. I love mine. I love her. And Scott Engel, he loves his. Matter of fact, I think Scott's going to start pushing his a little bit in this next spring. Yeah. Going to take him to the Super Stakes and stuff. And he's going to keep it. And he's another good one to have, behind
Now,
him.
is Rodeo out of Mason or is he out of Mojo?
I believe he's out of Mason. I believe so. Now, I should know that, but don't hold me to it.
Yeah. Well, I should too.
Yeah,
I've talked to Scott about all that.
Yeah, and actually, it's a funny story. Rodeo actually come from about 30 minutes from my house, 45
really?
minutes. Yes, sir. Yeah. A guy over in Arkansas had him as a puppy, and so I got to hunt with Rodeo, and I didn't know it was him until, I don't know, probably 2 years ago. And I kind of put 2 and 2 together and asked Scott where he come from. Scott said, yeah, that's him, so yeah, I liked Rodeo when he was a puppy. I did. He was a good dog, and that was another cross that was pretty neat, being he's a world champion, and a platinum champion, and I knew Scott would be a good guy to take one too, because he's great. He's great for sure. We went up there and bred to him and to Rodeo, and he was good to us, but yeah, them pups are doing great. We're excited about that cross too. I know off the top of my head of 4 of them. There's only 5 in that litter. I know 4 out of the 5 are Treen Coons and the right kind.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
they're pretty good. And I've kind of kept tabs on them, and that litter I'm very excited about as well. I think after that litter's said and done, they'll make some noise as well,
Well, I think Emmy's definitely going to have her place in the history books and record books and so forth. Right. It's good to see her showing up on the reproducers list.
Yeah, and that would be great. That's awesome, It would be cool, to I don't even like thinking about it, but after she passes away and dies, it would be neat to see her make the Hall of Fame, in PKC and some other clubs.
And I think that's definitely it'll work.
Yeah, and I might be a little biased, but I feel like she deserves it. I really do.
The old saying way back, and I think it might have been Yogi Bear or one of those that said, "It ain't bragging if you can do it."
Yeah, that's it. I guess. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I think she's capable of it, deserves it. But that's a long time between now and then. We'll just see what these puppies do, and see like the dogs out of her, how they're going to reproduce.
Well, are you considering maybe breeding her again, or do you think?
A lot of people have asked me that. She's 10. Physically, there ain't nothing wrong with her. She's just fat and out of shape right now. But like I said, this fall, I'm going to get her back in shape. Mm-hmm. And if she comes in heat this fall, I probably will breed her. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what I'm going to breed her to. I don't know.
As the old saying is, the world's your oyster. I'm absolutely. Sure you can take and choose whatever you want to breed her to. I've thought about it, here and there, but we'll see what happens. I'm just gonna kind of let her make that decision, see how her body holds up, and I go to getting her back in shape this fall, and I think he'll hold up good. She's absolutely. If you brought her in here right now and turned her loose, you think she's a 2-year-old puppy. That's
She'd be playing and jumping around. So
she's spent her life doing what she loves to do, and she's had a guy to walk behind her that appreciates her and loves her, and she feels that.
Well, absolutely.
I mean, until you really get close to a hound, you don't realize, what a rapport you can actually have with the dog.
Oh yeah. And that's a lot of people don't understand that. These dogs, we expect a lot out of them, but I'm telling you right now, these dogs, they're more than dogs. They're family, and especially one like her that I've raised and trained, and she means the world to me,
Sure.
and we expect a lot out of them, but like I said, they're family, and there's a bond that people that they just create with these dogs, and spending night in and night out with them. You either love them or you hate them, and you got to because you spend so much time with them.
That's right.
It's a neat deal, and God has blessed me beyond measure. I cannot just express just how thankful and blessed I am. I always say that, and I can't say it enough, and it's the truth. So.
Well, I appreciate that about you, Lane. I really do. Well, man, it's been great for you to stop by here at the booth today and catch up with you. You took my buddy hunting last night.
Yeah.
First time he'd been out on a cast like that.
Yeah, it was a good
first time to Autumn Oaks, too.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good time.
Appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah, no problem at all. It was a good time. I enjoyed having him. It's always good to introduce somebody to the competition side of it. They don't know it. That's something that we as coon hunters, we probably need to do a little more of, because sometimes we can kind of get a bad rap being out there because, look, we all want to win, but at the end of the night, it's all about having fun and enjoying what we do, doing what we love.
Well, it should be, that's for sure.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
All right, that's Lane Denny, owner of 2019 UKC World Champion Emmy. What's her full name?
Spavinaw Creek Insane Emmy.
Yes, sir. Emmy. Yep. What a female. All right, Lane, thanks for coming by, boy. It's great to hear from you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Steve. I appreciate it.
Well, that concludes our live coverage from Autumn Oaks, and what a great time I had out in Richmond with all the folks that stopped by the Gone to the Dogs podcast booth. It was just great to interview each of you, and I'm sure that the listeners have enjoyed these interviews. One of the people that I had intended to record live at Autumn Oaks was our old friend Fred Moran, the Redbone Man from the hills of Pennsylvania. Fred, I didn't see you at Autumn Oaks. What happened, buddy?
Well, you'd have had to go 300 miles to see me. I was back home. I had full intentions of going. I had the application for the entry, tore out the book, and had it partially filled. And as it got closer to Autumn Oaks, I just plain changed my mind. I thought, I go to enough night hunts and that I can afford to miss one, although there were some people there that I knew I wanted to see and so forth. And I had a guy in Michigan. I could have made some money even. I had a dog a guy wanted. I could have took it out there and sold it. I did sell it, but I could have made a few bucks. But I just changed my mind and stayed on. I had somebody to go with me too if I continued on that wavelength that I was going to go. But at the last minute, I changed my mind.
Well, I see you went.
I heard they had a good crowd as usual. There wasn't as many red dogs as I expected. I think somebody told me there was only one registered red bone in the registered hunt. There was some night champions and grand nights, and I heard one did pretty good, or maybe two. So at least we wasn't left out in the cold.
Yeah, well, the Redbone there, I think that G-Man dog.
Yeah.
He was in the Grand 16, and I think he made it to the Final Four.
Yeah, he did. And that's the trouble, They always say, I never see no red dogs winning. I said, you never see many entered either. But I said, that's the fault of the owner, not the dog's fault. And
that's for sure. That's for sure. You can't win if you don't go.
Right? That's right. That's right.
Well, how have you been, man? We need to catch up a little bit. It's been a few episodes now.
I've been hunting a good bit other than them couple really hot days. It's finally starting to cool a little bit. And I've been hunting. My voice, as you could probably tell, I don't know what's wrong. I've been to doctors and they give me some medication to take. It don't seem to be helping at all. Early in the morning, my voice is fine. As the day progresses, my voice gets worse. Sounds like I'm 120. But
you're sounding good today, my friend.
Well, that's wonderful then. It don't bother me at all. To me, it's like I'm all hoarse and everything else.
Well,
but I've been hunting.
Well, good. Tell me a little bit about it. What's been going on?
You talk about Autumn Oak. Old Harold Edwards, I call him the king of the Alabama coon hunters. That guy does hunting. He's 92 years old. He's got property leased down there where he hunts in Alabama, and he's got about 4,000 acres all to himself, and he hunts off a four-wheeler down there. Usually by himself, once in a while, buddy. And he told me he's still coon hunting, but not like he used to. He's down to 2 days a week he goes off that four-wheeler. And he says he's been doing pretty good. If Harold says he is, he is. And I bought a lot of dogs off him through the years, and got a couple pretty good ones. One I won Redbone Day with years ago. He was a heck of a tree dog and that. And I'll remember one time the year I won Redbone Day, a guy that's passed now, Jim Stevenson from Missouri. I met him there at that hunt. He went along on my calf just to spectate. And toward the end of the hunt, I was doing pretty good. I won Redbone Day that year. My dog I called him Pickwick. He was quick on him trees. And he treed across, they called it a river, I called Big Creek. And I thought, I ain't getting soaking wet going over to that dog. And at that time, he wouldn't come to you as far as calling. You can call from now to tomorrow, and he ain't going to come. And he didn't have a handle on him like the dogs we have nowadays. And Jim says, I'll go get your dog. Give me a leash. I says, you're going to go across that. He called it, like I say, a river. I called it a creek. He jumped right in that water. We could see the coon from where we were. He jumped right in that water and went over and got my dog and brought it back. I said, sir, I appreciate that. Saved me getting wet. And we became friends from then on. Him and I did some dog dealing through the years. And I got some from him. He got some from me. And he's turned out to be a good friend. And,
well, there's some benefits to getting a little older in age. I've found that myself. People are good. They offer, at first it kind of irritated me a little bit. It's like, I can handle my own dog, It
don't irritate me.
Or me either. Well, you mentioned Harold Edwards, and I had a phone call from him not too long ago, and we had a good long visit. And there's an old ridge runner. Well, he's not that old. He's younger than I am by a good bit. A fellow named Roscoe Mills from West Virginia that moved down to Alabama. He was a coal miner and originally moved down there to the mines down there, but then I think he's gotten into other business now. But anyway, he hunts with Harold, and Harold was telling me about some of the hunts, and Roscoe had also called me and said, someday you need to get Harold on the podcast because he's got a lot of good stories. But yes, he is amazing at what'd you say, 92?
92.
Wow.
And here's the best part. He called me. If I dial number 3 times, I usually memorize it. His phone number is 205-744-8314. Well, not anymore, because I tried to call him when they had hurricanes down there about 3-4 years ago and just see if he was all right. I never got an answer. Operator didn't come on, say the phone's disconnected or anything. I figure sooner or later he'll spend a quarter and call me. He never called me, and I never called him. But when he called me a few days ago, well, first he tried to pull fast and
disguise his voice.
Yeah, disguise his voice and make like he's someone else. This is Bill Smith, and I'm looking for a good red dog. I said, well, you ain't going to find it here because we don't have no good red one. And I said, Harold Edwards, anybody could pick out your voice. And he started laughing. And he says he had a new phone number. And he got a new phone number, and that's why I wasn't able to get her. And the hurricane did blow his house away. He told me he found his dogs. A woman called them. They were treed in the middle of town 3 days later and had a coon. And he went over and got his dogs, and well, he's living in a different house, of course, now, and but it's in the same area of where he originally was, somewhere nearby where he talked. But he's quite a character.
Yes, he is. Well, you mentioned 3 days there. Now that reminds me of an old ad by Kelly Bragg.
Kelly Bragg, yeah, Kelly Bragg. Well, believe it or not, I got to hunt with one of them dogs that Kelly Bragg had. I went to a night hunt. My buddy was stationed in the service, and he had 3 or 4 days off. He said, why don't you come down and go hunting? So I went. I forget where he was, but I went to a hunt. I think I drove clear to Virginia to a hunt and met him somewhere. Me, him, and about 3 or 4 others from up here. We all went down, got a motel and that. And anyhow, we coon hunted for a couple of nights down there. And one night we went to a night hunt, and I drew Kelly Bragg. and one of them blue dogs has stayed for 2-3 days. Well, I ain't knocking a man's dog. I don't know. He might have been everything I ever read about him, but that night we didn't have too good a night. I'll put it this way. The dog wouldn't get tired barking because he'd ball on a tree and probably a half a minute later give another ball. He didn't go nowhere. He stayed there. We didn't see a coon, but there was a couple other trees we treed on, including my dog, and we didn't have much luck finding coon. But I did get to hunt with the dog.
Well, maybe the dog was conserving his energy for one of those 3-day deals.
I think so. And
let me
like
say,
my buddy says, he'll never get tired barking that way. So.
Well, I had the privilege to talk with Kelly Bragg many, many times. And people from back in that era, of course, Fred, you and I remember that he ran ads quite often in American Coonhound Magazine or Full Cry maybe, and about his blue ticks. He was an interesting fella. He was a circus performer.
Right, he worked in a circus.
Yeah, a trapeze artist, if you can imagine that. And he would work, and then in the wintertime, he would be off. And he would coon hunt, but he only lived about probably 25 miles from me. But he was right down on the New River. I'm stuttering here on New River at a place called Brooks, West Virginia. But he bred those blue dogs for a number of years, and I certainly don't mean to disrespect him or his memory, but it was funny when he would write those ads about those dogs staying treed for 3 days at a time.
Well, he was quite a character, and like I say, I remember his ads as well as you do. He'd have one in about every other month, and had quite a few.
Oh, but, yeah, well, tell me about some of your hunts you've been having lately.
Well,
have you?
It's mostly been local hunts. I haven't gone to no night hunt. I'm going to go to one this week. I did go to one, and we made 3 trees. I had 2 first strikes, 2 first trees. We never saw a coon on any of the 3 trees. And you could say I won a calf if you count 0, but that don't count for nothing. And so we never saw a coon. And 2 of the other calves didn't see a coon either. There was in the register, there was only 3 calves. In the register, nobody saw a coon. Now, Night Champion calf had some plus points, and I think that was about it. But there's not many people coming to the hunt. They're losing interest in that. I don't know whether it'll pick up or not, but they just don't seem to be gathering the people that they used to. And some of the old timers that I used to see a lot just ain't coming. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Well, I think it's a sign of the times, and I want to ask you something. I consider you one of my sources of hound knowledge. You certainly have the years of experience and everything else. This kind of raises a question with me. I have a young dog with a partner in North Carolina. He's a plot dog. He's only 10 months old. He came from, he's a grandson of a dog that I had for many years. I called Hoss, and his sire is Bill Scheninger's Lazarus dog over in Western Ohio. Here's my point. Last weekend, this pup, 10 months old, was put in his first night hunt on Friday night. He scored 200 plus and won his cast, his very first night hunt. The second night... Well, the second night, he was put in his second night hunt at a different club. He won his cast again, this time with 225. He got strike and tree. Now, that's real unusual for a pup 10 months old to be that successful, especially it was moonlight nights. and all this. But here's my point, not to brag on the pup, because he's kind of surprised me, really. But he has been doing really well, and my partner that hunts him is absolutely a coon hunter and knows what he's doing. But this is what came to mind in thinking about that, and I want to ask you about it. Do you think that when these dogs are young like that, they seem to be more accurate? They seem to have their coon. Or it's been my experience when they're young like this, when they're just getting started. Do you think that's because they're more excited? Is that because they're maybe not as cold-nosed as they will be or other dogs are, and they just tree on hot scent where you're more apt to find it? Do you have any idea about that or any opinion about that?
I'm going to tell you a couple fast stories. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. I had the best dog I ever owned in my life. People don't know that, and they all think Magic Hickory or some of that, and they were in the top 4 or 5, that's for sure. But I had a dog in 1950. He died June 14th, 1955. And anyhow, I called him Lee. I got him from North Carolina at Camp Lejeune. A buddy of mine that was older than me was stationed down there and told me about hunting with it all the time. I said, see if you could buy the dog. And he got the dog for me. And I raised a litter of pups out of him. I bred him to a buddy's dog. It was a black and tan female. We weren't worried about papers or registration. We just wanted to see what this dog could throw. Well, we bred him, and 2 of the pups were, one was like a saddleback black and tan, the other one was red. I think she had 7, if I'm not mistaken. But this buddy of mine that hunted with me a lot, he kept 2 of the pups. We went hunting one night, and this is God's truth. The pups at that time was definitely no older than 4.5 months old. And I took them out, and I had the old dog with me. And this is what I can't do. The 2 pups opened up. And I thought, well, what the heck are they barking on? Probably run the rabbit. They run it up the hall. The old dog, where there was no garments in or anything to see where the old dog went, but he went the same direction they went. And I thought, but he ain't barking. They run up the hall and they treed. The old dog ain't barking treed yet. I thought, what the heck could they be doing? I figured, well, they got a possum. We go up there. It was the biggest tree in the woods. I could have put my truck up there and you wouldn't have found it. I wish I could say I found 5 coon up there, but I didn't find anything. But I felt sure there was a coon up there, but I couldn't find it. At that time, our main light was a 6L flashlight. And Dog Supply House up in Michigan used to sell them. It was a coon hunter's light at the time.
Right.
And we looked for it for a long time, couldn't find it. I give up. I never did figure out. I felt them 2 puppies run that, but why didn't the old dog open? And that he was absolutely straight. But he was at the tree, never barked on a track or a tree. And I don't know what to figure out about that. Before I go any further, a guy came here one time to buy a dog. And I had a dog that was decent coon dog, nothing great, but it treat coon. That's all the guy wanted. I asked him, I said, do you mind if I take a pup along? I said, it's only 5 months old. It's been in the woods 5 times. I said, it ain't doing a thing. It does go hunting, but it ain't done a thing yet. I says, I want to get it in the woods as much as possible. I said, it sure ain't going to help this older dog. He says, nah, you go ahead and take it. So I took it along. The pup struck. Now, mind you, it never done nothing previous other than go hunting. It struck first, run the track better than the old dog. The old dog got in with it, and the pup treed way ahead of the old dog. We go in there and see a coon, after that, that's all that guy talked about, buying that pup. I says, believe me, that pup never done that before. I'm telling you. I said, I'm glad it did do it. So, he wasn't even interested in that other dog after that, seeing that a 5-month-old dog treat that coon, and we saw the coon and everything. I couldn't get his mind on that old dog at all. So I figured I'm just wasting my time. Might as well go home. I told him we'll quit her. We treat one more coon, we quit. But now, how it come that pup took it took effect all at once, 5 times in the woods, and here one night he turns on like a cracker jack. It was a good pup. A guy, someone stole it. I'll put it that way. When it was about 7.5 months old, I'm positive I know who it is, but I could never prove it. And this guy, he lived in our area. He did have the contacts. I figured he probably got rid of the dog in West Virginia or Ohio within a couple of days. He sure wasn't going to keep it around. Too many people would have talked. But that's just funny things that you don't know the answer to, but it did happen. And as far as young dogs go, I just had a guy tell me, and if he told me he saw the Pope in the woods last night, he saw the Pope in the woods. And he was telling me.
Was he wearing a funny hat?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And I know this boy real well. He's got a walker dog from your good buddy where you got yours at.
Mm-hmm.
It was a semen bred walker. I didn't pay much attention because I could care less about them walkers. But anyhow, he told me it's a semen bred dog, just something that your friend used to have years ago. And he told me the dog's name and everything, but I can't remember. He said, Fred, you never seen nothing like this. About the 3rd time in the woods, a dog running treed with the old dogs, and at the time it's 4 months old. This dog right now is 7 months old, and this treed over 40 coon by itself. And the guy, he knows he's got something, but he don't know what he's got at that age. And his buddy called me yesterday. He says, guess what? He said, we lost that pup. I said, oh, I thought he meant he lost it in the woods and never got it. He said, it went 1.25 miles. We found it, and it was treed on a den tree, but we could see the coon inside the hole. Now, that's doing something by itself, and it's only 7 months old right now. And I'm half tempted to get interested in the walker dog. But
well, that kind of thing will make you that way.
The kid is smart enough to know that he's got something, but I hope he's dumb enough to want a lot of money for it. So,
well, I'm going to have to find out what that pup's out of. I've got on this podcast, in the interviews at Autumn Oaks, or in the previous week, I talked about a young man in Virginia that came to his first Autumn Oaks this year. And he also got a dog from Randy Smith there in Pennsylvania. And this dog is now about 13 months old. And he started him as a puppy with no older dog, had nothing to train him with, took him night after night after night that he didn't do anything, but then he started doing some things. He treed a coon, but he just sat at the tree and didn't bark. Then little by little, he started barking at the tree. Little by little, he started hunting harder. That pup right now is 13 months old. And I'm going to venture to say that he's treed over 100 coon himself. And the other night I laughed at him. He said, he treed on a big tree. He said, I couldn't find the coon. He said, I'm going to call that one slip tree number 4. But he said, I can't be exactly sure. Now, this is a 28-year-old. He's not a young kid, but he hunts virtually every night. He's got lots of private ground to hunt in Virginia, and this pup is just phenomenal. Now, some would get the purists to nitpick him, say he's a ball-mouthed tree dog. Well, he is, but when he changes over and sits down, he's there. And he hunts wide, and it's just amazing. And then, of course, back to this plot, this 10-month-old plot that we have, when he started, he was about 5 months old when we got him, or not quite. And he, right away, he treed a coon by himself. He split trees from the other dog. He likes to be by himself. Now, where are these young dogs getting all this talent? What's the difference between when we were young, or Fred, back in the day, we probably didn't care too much, worry too much about a dog till he's 1.5, 2 years old.
Well, like you say, for some reason or other, a lot of dogs that you come across are less than a year old, and they're acting like a 3-year-old themselves in the woods right now. And they just seem to be more stimulated now than they ever were when we were younger and had dogs back there. Like you said, sometimes we'd have them around 2 years. I wouldn't put up with half the dogs I put up with years ago, but I was young, had a lot of pep and zip, and I'd hunt every night. I remember 1957. I hunted over 300 nights that year, and I coon hunted. That's all I lived for, is coon hunting. And and I'd get some young dogs doing good, but not like you are now. To me, there's more young dogs doing better than there ever was before. I know a lot of guys around here got young dogs that are doing. They're no Merchants Bally or anything like that, but they're doing darn good for the hunting they've had.
Right.
And they seem to be more natural.
Yep.
I don't know if it took that long to show up in them or what, but just like this boy that's got the Walker. I ain't seen it, but he's coming down. He's studying to be a state trooper, and so he's about 22 years old. He hunted with me when he was 10, 11 years old, and he don't live around here. He lives in PA, but a good ways from me. But he's promising to come down, him and Bill Lash, another guy that I've cooned on with for over 50 years. And they're going to come down and stay a couple days, and we'll do some coon on. But the way and where he lives, there ain't many coon. But now he's telling me they're treeing 10, 12 coon a night. And you would never even begin to believe that up there where they live compared to my hunting. I've got pretty good hunting compared to theirs. But like I say, everything's changing, it seems. Some of it for the good, and I'm glad of that. So.
Well, I am too, Fred. And you mentioned coon populations, and in some of the areas where coon were fairly scarce years ago, there seems to be plenty of coon now.
I used to have a guy from your area, John Kuntz. He lives in Petersburg, West Virginia. I met him by accident through other hunters, and he started coming up here and hunting. And they used to say to him, John, what are you going up Moran's for? You're driving 125 miles to go coon. He says, because I'll see more coon up there in one night than I will in a week down there. and that was
That's
the truth.
Right.
But now, for some reason or other, he's got coon. He tells me on his feeders that he's got out, it ain't nothing to go drive up to a feeder and see 8 or 10 coon on it.
No, wow.
And he never had coon like that before.
Well, down in southern West Virginia where I grew up, I was talking to John Sturgill, a plot guy. I had him on the podcast here a couple weeks ago or better. And, back in the day, in the 80s when or the 70s, actually, when I came home from service, coon were very scarce down there, and our club did a lot of restocking. And you and I've talked about Paul Hunter in Meadville, Pennsylvania.
Right,
we used to get coons
he used
from
to
him.
sell coon all over the place.
Yeah, but now they've got coon down there everywhere. You know, it's really something.
People don't know this, but those that are listening to your podcast, you guys will catch them in box traps and release them. Mark my words, I'm never wrong. I'm always right. Spray paint them through the cage. Spray paint their tails and that with a different color paint. And turn them loose wherever you're going to turn them loose at. They're like black bear. You turn them loose in 2-3 weeks, you'll be back in the same area again. I proved that 100. A guy up the road from me, I used to put coon in this barn all the time. He said, give me one of them cages and let me catch some of them. He bought me 28 coon. I took them only 5 miles away, and it was straight across the river. So that wasn't too big a surprise for me. But I didn't paint them at first, but then I started painting them through the cage. I got 5 in 1 week. So they were just coming back home. And I found a game warden told me this year, and he used to coon hunt with me all the time. I even asked him if he wanted me to come to his commencement when he graduated. I said, I could tell by you holding the light when I shot the deer. He says, you ain't invited. He says, you're not invited. So anyhow, he told me he caught a bear this year in Fayette County, Pennsylvania. And it was 400. I don't get me exact on this way, but it was about 457 pounds. It had an ear tag in it. He had the ear tag checked. The bear was caught when he was 2 years old. He was 5 when this guy caught him. This game warden caught him. He was 5, and at 2 years old, he weighed 240, he told me. And he caught him 3 years later. He gained 200 and some pounds, and the bear was caught within a mile of where it was originally caught, and it was taken over 100-mile and turned loose in a different kind.
There you go.
They have a natural way of instinct to get back home. A guy that I know you heard of him, used to have a dog called Pokey Bill, old James Bruce in Tennessee.
Yes, indeed.
James used to trade a guy up here in Pennsylvania for a dog, a broke dog for, I forget, 75 coon at a time. And so this guy was saving money. He's getting coon, taking him down there. I said to James, I said, do you tag them or anything? He says, yep, we put tags in all the ears. I says, how many have you got? He says, each club member gets 5 coon. They can turn it loose in any woods they want. I said, how many did you recapture? He said, Fred, nobody from the club ever got but 1 coon. One guy got one about 11 miles from here. He said, we got one of them. Some other hunter caught it 28 miles from here, and he was headed north. He says, maybe he was trying to make it back to Pennsylvania, but that was the only 2 coon they ever got, one 11 mile and one 28 mile from where they turned it loose. And to me, they all try and make it back home. The only ones that will stay is if you get a little one or an occasional dummy. And I turned one loose one time. I didn't paint him, but he was a real yellow coon. And I went to that woods 3 nights in a row hunting where I turned him loose. Believe it or not, I seen him all 3 nights just walking through the woods. He was bewildered as far as I was concerned. He's trying to figure out. And about the 5th day, I went by that same woods. There he was laying out in the middle of the road. He didn't make it any further.
Yeah.
But it's odd how they do things and how they get around that. But they're definitely homers. If they can make it home, they will. So they try.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Fred, it's been great visiting with you again, and I am going to try to get back on the schedule where we can have you every week, because it's always great.
JJ misses.
JJ's missing it. Well, my apologies to JJ for sure.
His squaw dog's getting old. I told him, if you come up to the club Saturday, they got a squirrel hunt. Well, I'll run your dog for you. And I didn't realize I got it for him 10 years ago. I didn't think it was that long. Time flies. I figure he's only 5 or 6. He's 10 years old. And he's a good one. So JJ's in good shape, and the dog is too. We'll give it a try.
Well, that sounds great, Fred. And doggone, I need to see you at Autumn Oaks next year.
Hey, I'm going to try and make one before I bite the dust. So I might probably be there next year. And my best dog, he wasn't clicking like good enough for me. I like him. He ain't for sale, but he just wasn't clicking like he should be. I don't know what it is, but every night's a different night. Tonight he might look like a world champ. So,
well, I hope he does for sure. Well, folks, that concludes our Autumn Oaks coverage. The last 2 episodes, we've been focusing on the event where history's made. The UKC Autumn Oaks started in 1960. I believe this year was the 63rd Autumn Oaks. I've been visiting here today with Fred Moran, the Redbone Man, who certainly been to Autumn Oaks many, many times. And Fred will be back on the program, I can assure you. And we're just really glad to have him a part of this podcast.
Well, thank you. I went to the first Autumn Oaks. I had 2 pretty good dogs. My Sioux female won second in the night champion class. Brandenburger's drum won it. He beat me with my magic dog that night, and he did a good job. He was a nice dog. But I did get second with the female on the night champion. But it's been a long time. I got to get back in the groove and maybe get lucky. They say a blind squirrel finds an acorn once in a while.
Our listeners need to be reminded, how old are you now, Fred?
85.
85 and going strong.
I want to beat Harold Edwards. So when he told me he was 9, I thought he was only 3 years older than me, but he's 92, and I'll do my darndest to beat him. So.
Well, think about it, folks. Your listeners out there, we've been talking about Autumn Oaks. This guy right here was there at the very first one, hunting in the final cast against the dog that won Autumn Oaks. What a great story. Okay, folks, that's going to be a wrap. I'll remind you, I do have my book, Gone to the Dogs, A Coon Hunter's Journey, is available online at stevefielderbooks.com. If someone asks you, where's Steve Fielder, you tell them, he's with Fred Moran, and they've gone to the dogs.
Yeah, we have.